Welcome back to All Things Money. My name is David Blain, and during this last segment, we're going to talk about the pros and cons of doing an IRA to Roth conversion. Before we do, we'll give out our phone number, which is 252-633-0107. Our email is allthingsmoney@dlblain.com. And our website, you can find our contact information as well as archived copies of the show, is www.dlblain.com. If you have any questions on this Roth IRA, please give us a call or email. I'm going to give you some general guidelines, but this, like most things in investing or taxes, is very specific to the situation of the individual. So I'm going to try to give you some guidelines and concepts to think about. But if you have any specific questions, by all means, let us know. So we talked a little bit about the regular IRA as a tax-deferred vehicle. You get a deduction when you put the money in. It grows tax-free, but when you take it out, you have to pay income tax at ordinary income tax rates. The Roth IRA, however, is you have to make money, pay tax on it, and put money in on an after-tax basis. It grows tax-free, but when you take it out, there's no income tax due. So for the right circumstances, it's a wonderful thing. As a general, I love the Roth IRAs. They haven't been around as long as regular IRAs, so Congress came up with the ability to convert from a traditional IRA to a Roth IRA. Now the catch is that if you do the conversion, you have to pay all the tax on the account immediately. So for example, if you have a $100,000 IRA and you want to convert it to a Roth IRA, then you have to pay tax on the value of that account in the year in which you do the conversion. Now for 2010 only, there's a little wrinkle in that rule that allows you to defer the payment of the tax to 2011 and 2012 over 2 years. So that can be a good deal. However, with the uncertainty in the tax rates, although it looks like they're going to stay the same, that may or may not be a good idea. That if tax rates go up in the future, instead of paying the tax today, you could end up paying more tax in the future. So a lot of these decisions that you have to make, they're simply unknowing, they're unsolvable equations. There's too many variables, there's too many unknowns, but what we're going to do is give you some general guidelines. So let's get right into it. First is, if you do the conversion from a regular IRA to a Roth, you have to come up with the money to pay the tax. You can't take it. Well, you can take it from the proceeds of the account, but then you would have to pay a penalty for early distribution from the IRA. So the first consideration is, do you have some money outside of your IRA to pay any tax due? So people that the best candidates for conversion to a Roth IRA, number one, is someone that will be always in the highest income tax bracket. So for example, let's say you're in the 10% tax bracket and you have a $500,000 IRA. If you convert it to a Roth IRA, it's going to push you all the way into the highest tax bracket. So you may not want to do that. If you're already in the highest tax bracket and taking the conversion is not going to push you into a higher tax bracket, it's not going to make that much difference on a current income basis. The same thing, if you're always going to be in that high tax bracket, then it may make sense for you to do the conversion because there's going to be no savings. Typically what people say is, well, I'm going to put money into my IRA during my low or during my high tax years, take the deduction, and then when I'm retired, I'll take it out at a lower tax bracket. That's the whole sort of game with the IRA, is put it in, take the deduction in high tax years, take it out in low tax years. Well, what people are finding is either A, Congress raises the tax rates when you retire and so you're not in a lower tax bracket, or B, you end up making more or still working in retirement and so you're not in a lower tax bracket. Number two, a good candidate to do the conversion is someone that will be likely subject to estate tax. The reason is, and I don't want to get into all the details of it. It's a complex area of the tax code, but suffice to say, passing a Roth IRA onto your heirs is a much more tax-friendly way of passing money along than a regular IRA, especially if the beneficiary is not your spouse. There are some rules, the way the income, it's called income with respect to the decedent, that come into play when someone dies with an IRA that do not come into play with a Roth. So there are some pitfalls with dying. Well, there are some big pitfalls with dying in general, but even more if you die with the IRA. So if you have a large estate, doing the conversion, there can be some advantages to that. Someone that is currently in a low income tax bracket but will be likely in a higher income tax bracket in retirement would be a good candidate to consider converting to the Roth. Once again, when you start taking money out of the Roth IRA, it's tax-free. So if you're in a low bracket now, but maybe you're expecting a big inheritance or something that's going to push you into a higher tax bracket in retirement, you may want to consider paying the tax on the IRA today while you're in that low bracket, getting it into the Roth where you can take it out tax-free. The other thing, someone with what we call tax deduction carry forwards. There are some things in the tax code that are limited. So if you have a low income, like charitable deductions are limited to 50% of your AGI, adjusted gross income. So believe it or not, there are some people that need to increase their income on their tax return to take advantage of some deductions. Granted, it's not a lot of people, but there are some scenarios where it's a good chance to raise your income and take advantage of some deductions maybe that you have carry forwards. Now, this would not apply to capital gains if that's what you're thinking. Another big group of people that should consider doing the traditional IRA to Roth conversion is people that want to take advantage of the Roth IRA's exemption from lifetime distributions. Believe it or not, there are people that accumulate enough money that do not need to take money out. Well, if you have money in a regular IRA, when you're 70 and a half, whether you want the money or not, you must take it out and you must pay the income tax on it. And so if you think you're going to be in that situation, it may be beneficial to convert to a Roth IRA so that you never have to take the money out. So there's 5 good examples of people that may want to consider this conversion to a Roth IRA. Well, we're out of time for this week. Hope you've enjoyed the show. For All Things Money, I'm David Blain, and we'll see you next week.
The proceeding was a paid program. The opinions expressed are not necessarily those of WNBU and Inner Banks Media.